Hello, everyone. Have you ever wondered what even is a fish? Or who takes care of the water? Well, our module is made to answer these questions. That's why we're going to have Sarfa and Tico come on stage and tell us a little bit more about it.
Hello and welcome, everybody. So this is our driving question. I know it's a big pile of words right now, but basically what we're trying to ask is, how can we better protect our oceans? And to do that, we basically learned about current AI and marine policies, such as the Great Reef Census and the International Whaling Commission. Then we learned how collaborative frameworks work and how you can bring people together through campaigns. And we learned about engaging stakeholders directly in marine conservation.
Throughout this whole module, we had the opportunity to engage in some fun activities. Some of those activities include, with the help from an amazing marine biologist here in Australia called Kailash, we were able to conduct small scientific study on a beach down at Port Phillip Bay. We were also able to meet some beautiful and amazing marine biologists up at the Great Barrier Reef and also to snorkel in the Great Barrier Reef. Now, all these activities led to some key, main, and amazing takeaways.
So first, governments are a bit inefficient, but they're trying their best.
Laws are only as efficient as you can enforce them.
Corporates are mainly profit-driven.
Scientific research takes a long time to complete.
There's a lot of scientific miscommunication in the field due to lack of proper scientific journalism and public engagement skills in scientists who try to communicate scientific facts.
Educational tourism actually helps the environment more than we think it does.
And while the Great Barrier Reef is a prime example of how educational tours should be done, the actual quality of educational tours vary quite a lot across Australia.
Now, you look at this picture, most of you see is a turtle in the Great Barrier Reef. But to us students in Module 4, to us, this is when our love for the ocean truly shined. This is where our summatives came from. Basically, what this told us was that people tend to care more about something they've seen, so stuff like snorkel tours in the Great Barrier Reef help a lot.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it was certainly a great module. So we are going to hear a little bit more from, who's next? Sigurd and Wonku.
My name is Sigurd. I'm from Norway.
My name is Wong Kyu. I'm from South Korea.
And this is our module presentation on stakeholder engagement for conservation. Now, Wonky, you know what I heard the other day?
What?
I heard that 93% of the Great Barrier Reef is dead. Does that mean that there's any use in conserving the last percent that are alive?
Yes, you still have to conserve it. You know why? Because that right there is wrong. It's extremely misleading, okay? Here's the thing. People these days always go to short-form media as their main source of information. And that is a big problem. And you know, why is that a problem? Okay, so let's look at that, okay? So, if you actually bother to read past that extremely misleading title and actually go into the article, you'll see that at the bottom it states that 7% of the Great Barrier Reef is unaffected. In other words, that means that 93% of the reef is affected, but are they dead? No, they're not. In other words, that title was basically clickbait, okay? And that is seen all over short-form media, whether it be titles, Instagram posts, or even like YouTube shorts, right? They would cram in absurd information so that they could get more clicks, more likes, more views, all for profit.
So how do we communicate accurate information?
So for me, I thought we could maybe implicate like a verification badge that only can be handed down by, professionals to ensure a proper data.
You see, there's an issue with that, is that verification badges already exist. And this one was put on the article that we just showed you, the misleading one. So, pivoting away from that, Our proposal was to connect directly scientists with the public through an intermediate middleman in order to effectively communicate actual data to the public. Now, the example here is STEM matters, but it could be anyone who can effectively take scientific data from whether it be citizen science initiatives or just pure scientific research, and communicate a message to the public so that people have accurate data in order to take and make their own decisions on whether or not they believe, to make their own decisions on how they think the reef is doing, and also just generally the effects of conservation.
I love that. What a great message. Read the whole article and stop reading the headlines. Love that. Don't be the problem and read through the whole article. Liam and Shangri-La, what do you have to say?
I'm Liam from France.
And I'm Shangri-La from China.
So I completely agree with what that group just said, with what Sigurd and Wong Q just expressed. I think it was great. On some news will never be right, but a collaboration between scientists and the public can be a bit tricky. Shangri-La, what do you think of a collaboration between universities and tourism companies?
Well, I think that's a great idea, Liam. I looked into James Cook University, who've already built a solid connection with many of the educational tours and citizen science program.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also looked into Melbourne University that has a bunch of students who do majors like marine biology, marine journalism, who could benefit so much from a program like this to continue the academic growth and be able to learn so much more than just in their school.
Right, and I also looked into some of the companies, tourism companies, that offers internship for college students to learn more about the Great Barrier Reef and marine conservation.
Yeah, I heard about that, and if they go to the Great Barrier Reef, they can see Wally, Dolly, Jerry, Fairy, any fish that ends in Y. They were right in front of me. I've seen them all.
Liam, you see, that's why we need students to educate the tourists a bit more, because that is not their name. That is a Maori wrasse. And I think there's many companies that need a bit of that help.
Maybe you're right, but either way, all these stakeholders will benefit from this collaborative framework. They all have an incentive to keep moving forward. The smaller companies could be taught by the students who go to the Great Barrier Reef. So if they come back to their region, teach the smaller companies and the smaller tourists to learn more about what happens in the oceans.
Yeah, I agree. But could there be more to the solution? Perhaps more gaps?
Maybe.
Does anybody in the audience want to get an internship in education tourism in the Great Barrier Reef? Sign me up. Let's expand the scope of what a marine biologist can do in this world. David and Dawn, can you tell me a little bit more about your app?
A collaborative framework amongst universities. Now, that's a pretty cool idea, Doan. But do you remember during our We Explore experience when we went snorkeling at the Great Barrier Reef, we collected data and analyzed this data using artificial intelligence platforms?
Yeah, it was a really good time. But David, let's be real. All the data we collected, is it actually make a difference? You know, citizen science collected data isn't actually trust among us marine biologists or government. It rarely ever goes beyond tourism.
That's so true. Wouldn't it be cool if the general public could actually be involved in an interactive gamified platform and contribute to high-quality standard data?
Right, because current existing app like iNaturalist have a good science backup knowledge regarding marine ecosystem and is also helpful to collecting data. But it isn't really well known to citizens and nothing really happened to the data that is collected.
Exactly, and I remember during our experience at the reef, we all felt super excited and engaged being able to see these amazing creatures live, but the moment we got back, we sort of lost this interest.
Yeah, that's why we need an app that makes citizen science collected data reliable and makes it fun and rewarding to take care of coral reefs.
Now that's a game-changing idea, Doan. Let's get this app moving and let's reach out to tech companies to see if they can fund this project.
Yeah, I bet we can reach out to tourism company to sponsor a reward in the app.
I love it, guys. So many ideas to save corals and fish. Well, let's see what the audience thinks. Put your hands up if you think if Sigurd and Wonku got the right idea. Okay. Put your hands up if you think Shangri-La and Liam got it right. Okay. What about Doan and David?
Yay!
Okay. It's a tie. Well, if you want to have more insight into how we did fill out all of the gaps we just talked about using our frameworks, you're more than welcome to check out our booth at the end of the presentation. That's all for us. Thank you for listening.